class, how are you today? I hope you're very fine. Today we're going to talk about NAFTA, and specifically about two very important chapters. The first chapter we're going to talk about is going to be Chapter 9, Standards Related Measures. And then we're going to move on to Chapter 13, about telecommunications. But first, I want you to tell me, what do you think, what comes to your mind when I say standard related measures? And what comes to your mind when I say telecommunications? First, you're going to give me your opinions, what you think, and then we'll see them thoroughly.
For me, standard-related measures are like the rules that the countries have to follow, and I think telecommunications is more about like companies such as Telmex that have to do with, I don't know, phones or something like that.
For me, standard-related measures is the protection of all the equipment that both the party members have, and maybe respecting each other. And telecommunications is transparency and anti-competitive market, which requires the party members to have a more collective and bilateral agreements in regards to materials, treaties, principles, rules, etc.
Teacher, for me the standard related measures are all the rights and the rules that each party has when they want to commercialize with each other, and also the behaviors that they have to adopt in order to have a good connections with each other. And if we're talking about the telecommunications, I think that are the communications that we have nowadays related with the technology and how they're being developing.
To me, standard-related measures sounds like any obligations which all of countries should observe. But I don't know really what it is. And telecommunications is kind of interesting topics to me, because telecommunication industry is increasing a lot, and Mexico, Canada, and United States is a kind of close country geographically. So,
well, for me, teacher, the standard-related measure are like the rules or the little letters that have to be in the products to commercialize between the parties like United States, Canada and Mexico. And the telecommunication, I already read like there have to be like monopolies in that sector. So I think it doesn't apply in Mexico like the telecommunication, because Telmex is like the huge monopoly here in Mexico. And what about the reform?
Okay, class, very good. I like all of your answers. So now we're going to see a little bit of the important things of each chapter. For example, Chapter 9 talks about the extent of the obligations and the measurements and the agreements that all of the parties are going to take, the basic rights of the obligations, the technical cooperation, and the Committee on Standard-Related Measures. This committee is really important because when there is a disagreement between the parties, each one can say what they think and really unite and read all the terms they agreed upon. And now we have Chapter 13, which is the access. It talks about the access of public telecommunications, transport networks, and services. It also has a very important part, which Gina actually talked about, which was monopolies. And finally, what's really important for this of this chapter is transparency, which we have a really big problem in Mexico because of this. Okay, kids, so homework. I'm going to ask you to read something about the articles and tell me what you think was really important in them. Okay, Oscar, so what did you read about?
I looked up for the article 904 about the basic rights and obligations, about the two countries that are commercializing, and I found that each party may, in accordance with this agreement, adopt, maintain, and apply any standards-related measures, including any such measures relating to safety and as well the protection of human, animal, or plant lives or health, the environment, or consumers, and any measure to ensure its enforcement or implementation. Because I wrote it a little bit bad.
Okay, Elena, what about you?
Okay, I found 2 articles of chapter 9 that I think that are really interesting. One is article 909, that it talks about the notification, publication, and provision of information, and that each country has give a warning to the other countries that they are going to implement a new law. It's like a period of 60 days, and I think it's interesting because it will give time to prepare to the other countries like for this new measurement. And also Article 910, that it talks about the inquiry points, that it guarantees that each country will have like a center of information where people, companies, or representatives for the government can go and ask questions about NAFTA or rules in each country.
Gina, tell us what did you find interesting?
Well, I find interesting in the chapter 9, like one annex. It's about the Automotive Standards Council, and it says like the purpose of the council is to facilitate the process between the parties, and like they follow like a criteria, like that was the impact on industry integration, the extent of the barriers to trade, the level of trade affected, and the extent of the disparity. And also I read about the annex about the labeling on the textile, and it was very interesting because it developed like a program working, including like pictograms and symbols and all that stuff.
Okay, so tell us, Jongyoon, what did you read about?
Yeah, I read articles from 13.1 to 13.3, and I found one interesting principle. It is like that all countries allow company or person, regardless of their nationality, to access to use public telecommunications without discrimination. The important thing is without discrimination. It means all business, all parties can do business in other countries. That's it.
Caro, what did you do for homework?
I read about 2 different articles, which are Article 1305, which relates to monopolies, and what I read about it is the use of monopolies, which means acting alone or with any associate cannot provide any telecommunication standards that may affect a party or encourage a non-competitive market. And in regards to the Article 1306, which talks about transparency, it states that parties are above all entirely transparent and open to other party members, which helps a lot of the collaborative parts between the party members.
Okay, kids, class dismissed. Remember, there's no homework for the weekend.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, teacher. See you next class. Bye.
Bye. Bye.